Have you ever made a choice, then felt a tiny, suspicious voice whisper, "Wait, did I really choose that?" You click the video with the perfect thumbnail. You buy the snack placed exactly at eye level. You choose the recommended option without checking the others. You agree with an opinion that everyone around you already seems to share. And afterward, something feels strange. Not regret, not paranoia. More like the feeling that your decision has invisible fingerprints on it. As if someone, somewhere, gently pushed your hand. That feeling is not as irrational as it sounds. It points to something uncomfortable about the human mind. We like to imagine ourselves as calm little pilots inside our heads, reading the facts, comparing options, and choosing freely. But most choices do not begin in consciousness. Your brain is constantly scanning the world, predicting danger, seeking reward, saving energy, and trying to fit into the social environment. By the time a choice appears in your mind, a lot has already happened backstage. Consciousness feels like the boss, but often it is more like the spokesperson. It explains a decision after hidden systems have already leaned in one direction. And that is why we sometimes feel induced, because the story we tell ourselves does not always match the forces that shape the choice. Imagine walking into a supermarket while hungry. You tell yourself, "I will just buy dinner." But the store has lighting, music, smells, colors, discounts, labels, arrows, and carefully placed products. Nothing attacks you, nothing forces you, but everything whispers. The bakery smell says, "Fresh bread is a good idea." The discount tag says, "This is an opportunity." The product at eye level says, "I am the easiest answer." Your brain does not treat all this like a formal argument. It treats it like a feeling. This feels appealing. This feels familiar. This feels safe. This feels like my idea. And that last part is the trick. The most effective influence does not feel like influence. It feels like preference. If someone grabs your arm and says, "Choose this," you resist. Your sense of freedom wakes up immediately. But if the environment is arranged so one option feels obvious, convenient, popular, urgent, or emotionally rewarding, you may choose it without feeling controlled. At least, not at first. Later, when you notice the pattern, you may wonder, did I actually want that? That discomfort appears when your self-image collides with your behavior. You thought the choice came from inside you, but something outside had quietly entered the room. Humans are deeply sensitive to context. We do not choose in empty space. We choose inside frames. A frame is the way options are presented. If a surgery has a 90% survival rate, it sounds reassuring. If the same surgery has a 10% death rate, it sounds terrifying. The facts are identical. The feeling is not. Your brain responds not only to information, but to the shape of information. And that shape can guide you. Once you notice this, it can feel like manipulation. But not all influence is manipulation. A road sign telling you to slow down before a dangerous curve influences your behavior, but it helps you act in your own interest. An app that hides the cancel button, makes the paid option bright, and makes the free option gray and confusing also influences your behavior. But now the influence serves someone else's goal at the expense of your clarity. The feeling of being induced often appears when we suspect the situation is not neutral. Someone arranged the room. Someone benefits if we choose quickly. Someone understands our impulses better than we do in that moment. And in modern life, this happens constantly. Websites test which button gets more clicks. Stores know where to place products. Social platforms learn which posts keep your eyes on the screen. Advertisers know that fear, status, beauty, belonging, and scarcity are not just ideas. They are buttons. Not physical buttons. Human buttons.
But persuasion did not begin with technology. It is ancient. A worried face in a tribe could make everyone alert. A confident leader could make a dangerous path feel safer. A crowd running in one direction could make your legs move before your mind had time to ask why. For most of human history, being influenced by others was not a flaw. It was survival. If everyone suddenly looked toward the bushes, you looked too. If your group avoided a certain food, you avoided it. If people you trusted approved of someone, you became more likely to trust them too. The social brain is not a weakness. It is one of the reasons humans survived. But it comes with a cost. We absorb signals from others so naturally that we can mistake social pressure for personal conviction. You may enjoy a movie more after hearing everyone praise it. You may want a product more because many people want it. You may silence a doubt because the room seems certain. This does not mean you are foolish. It means your brain treats consensus as information. If many people believe something, maybe they know something you do not. Sometimes that shortcut helps. Sometimes it quietly takes the wheel. The feeling of being induced becomes stronger when your inner signal is weak. If you know exactly what you want, influence has less room to operate. But many choices are not like that. What should I eat? What career should I follow? What should I believe? Who should I trust? What kind of life should I want? These questions are messy. They do not come with a clean answer key. So the brain looks for shortcuts. What is popular? What is praised? What is easy? What avoids embarrassment? What gives me relief right now? What makes me feel like I belong? These shortcuts are called heuristics. They help us decide without calculating everything from scratch. Without them, buying toothpaste would become a philosophical crisis. But heuristics can be exploited. Scarcity says, only 2 left. Authority says, experts recommend this. Social proof says, millions already chose it. Urgency says, decide now. Personalization says, this was selected just for you. Each signal reduces the effort of choosing. Each one gives your brain a shortcut. And shortcuts feel good because thinking is expensive. The brain is not lazy in a moral sense. It is efficient. If an answer feels good enough, it often takes it. This is why choice architecture is so powerful. Choice architecture is the structure around a decision. Which option is the default? Which one appears first? Which one is easier? Which one is highlighted? Which one requires extra effort? A default option can change behavior dramatically. Most people do not experience accepting a default as being controlled. They experience it as not having to decide. And that is exactly why defaults matter. The easiest path becomes the most traveled path. This is not always bad. A good default can help people save money, protect privacy, or make healthier choices. But a bad default can quietly drain attention, money, or time. The ethical question is not, is there influence? There is always influence. The real question is, does this influence respect the person choosing? Does it make the choice clearer? Or does it make the person easier to capture? This question matters more today because we know we are being studied. Your feed learns from your pauses. Your searches reveal your worries. Your clicks reveal your temptations. Your watch time reveals what keeps you emotionally hooked. The system does not need to understand your soul. It only needs to predict your next move slightly better than chance. And across millions of moments, slightly better becomes very powerful. This creates a strange modern anxiety. You may not know exactly how you are being influenced, but you know the influence is there. So ordinary choices start to feel contaminated. Did I want this, or was it recommended to me? Do I believe this, or have I seen it repeated too many times? Do I desire this life, or did I absorb it from screens? The uncomfortable answer is usually both. Human choice is rarely pure. You are influenced by your parents, culture, friends, memories, body, fears, hopes, language, habits, algorithms, childhood, hunger, sleep, and even the weather. A bad night of sleep can make the future look darker. A compliment can make you braver. A crowded room can change your opinion. A red notification can pull your attention like a tiny emergency. So if every choice has influences, does freedom disappear? Not necessarily. Freedom may not mean being untouched by influence. That would be impossible. Freedom may mean becoming aware of the forces around a choice and creating enough space to respond instead of simply react. The pause is powerful. A pause interrupts the automatic path.
When you stop and ask, who benefits if I choose this quickly? The spell weakens. When you ask, would I still want this tomorrow? Urgency loses some of its grip. When you ask, is this my desire? Or my desire to be seen a certain way? Status becomes visible. When you ask, what option is being made inconvenient? The architecture reveals itself. You do not need to escape influence completely. You only need to notice enough of it to regain authorship. Think of the mind like a small boat on a river. You did not create the current. You did not choose the wind. You did not design the riverbanks. But you can still learn to steer. The mistake is believing that steering means the water has no effect. The deeper wisdom is knowing the water is always moving you and still placing your hands on the oar. The feeling of being induced is unpleasant because it threatens our identity. We want our choices to say something true about us. And they do. But they also say something about the world we are choosing inside. A person who scrolls for hours inside an app designed to remove stopping points is not simply careless. A person who eats junk food in a city full of junk food ads is not simply weak. They are human. And humans are influenceable creatures living in engineered environments.
That does not remove responsibility, but it makes responsibility more realistic. Instead of asking, why am I so easy to influence, we can ask a better question. What kind of environment makes my better choices easier? Because if environments can push us toward distraction, they can also support clarity. Put the phone in another room. The choice changes. Turn off notifications. The choice changes. Do not shop hungry. The choice changes. Spend time with people who think carefully. The choice changes. Make the good option visible, easy, and boringly available. The choice changes. This is not cheating. This is using choice architecture in your favor. There is quiet power in admitting that we are not perfectly rational. It means we can stop pretending and start arranging our lives with more honesty. We can slow down around urgency. We can distrust choices that require panic. We can notice when convenience is doing too much of the thinking. We can remember that certainty is not always evidence. Sometimes it is just repetition wearing a convincing costume. So the next time you feel that strange suspicion, the sense that your decision is being pulled by invisible strings, do not ignore it. But do not panic either. That feeling may be your mind doing something intelligent. It may be noticing the frame. It may be detecting the shortcut. It may be asking for one more second before you click, buy, agree,
follow or fight. And sometimes 1 second is enough. Enough to see the hand near the steering wheel. Enough to ask whether the road is yours. Enough to turn a reaction back into a choice.